Welcome everyone to episode 14 of Pro Player Plays PGA Tour 2K21. Thank you to everybody who's been tuning into the last couple episodes, liking and commenting, and all the new subscribers that we've had. It's been really fun to see so many people tuning in to this channel and kind of checking out the design series that we got going on. So I'm really excited to have everybody here. But I don't want to waste any time today because we have got a lot of work on our plate today. We are going to get the majority of hole number 4 completely done. We are going to get all of the planting done, we're going to get the green sculpted, and we're going to make a couple changes here and there to the hole that we have right now because, as you can see, it's a pretty good look that we've got going on right now. There's not too much I would change with kind of the bunkering looks and the sight lines off the tee and everything. There's a couple things I want to change with this approach shot. And then we're going to finish up the episode by getting up into this area and really working on this tee box. Because as you can see right here, it's a little bit of a bare look as you look out and it's kind of just that emptiness. And we want to fill that up. So we are going to get all the planting done, get a lot of the sculpting of the green done, and we're going to get a few other things done. So we've got a lot on our plate. Let's get right into the video. I am going to start this out and I'm going to plant this front little tee box area so that we get an idea for how this hole is going to look. So without any further ado, let's hop in and let's kind of time-lapse this little area up here around these tee boxes, around this tee box. And, you know, actually, I'm going to move this tree to start off with because I keep going behind this to get a good view of the hole, and I'm looking into a dead tree. And that's not really what we want to see. So let's move this dead tree just so that I can kind of see a little bit better. I still want to leave it because it is a cool plant to have on your course, but I think it's going to be better served kind of on the corner here, and it won't block this tee shot nearly as much. There we go. Now I can see the hole a lot better, and yeah, let's just hop in and let's get after this. Let's get after this tee box area. Alright, as you can see, we got a lot of these plants put in, and I think it's looking pretty good. This is going to be what the entire hole kind of looks like from tee to green. You're going to have all these little patches, and it's pretty similar to the rest of the style. It's going to be very similar in style to hole number 3 over here. And that's kind of what we're going for. And I think this tee shot, it's getting framed up. It's obviously not complete because we haven't done a lot of these areas kind of up in here. This is going to be a very major area of planting right there. I think it's going to really define how this hole is going to look. But we're not going to get to that quite yet because I want to turn my attention here. We did this first little part of the tee box. Let's move up here to the green because the green, I mean, It's generally how I want it, but there are definitely some changes I want to make. I want to make this more of a backboard. I want to lower this section of green, and I really want you to be able to land it on here and keep it on the green. And I've kind of been fiddling off camera with this hole because I want the drive to be able to stay on the green, especially if you hit it, you land it here and it rolls up and it catches this bowl and it stays, like if you hit it the right distance. And right now, I almost think the greens might be too quick, or too firm, that is. So I'm looking in the wrong spot. Where do I go for this? It is in course settings. There we go. I want to look at the green settings and see how firm it is. I might move that back just a little bit. Kind of get this closer to, let's say, 0.6. Any of you guys watching this video that play a lot of this game, is 0.6 too soft? Do you normally see it lower than that? Do you see it faster than that? I'm not quite sure what a good green firmness is. Especially for a course where, like, I want to be able to land this ball and keep it on. I like keeping the green speed quick, but I like it being a little bit softer. I don't want it to just be firm and just bouncing over the green all the time. So let me know what you guys think. I hope that does a little bit more to help it. We'll definitely do some play testing. Especially once we're finished with the course, we'll do a lot of playtesting. But I'm going to leave it at 0.6 right now, and hopefully that helps it a little bit, because in the playtesting I did, it was bouncing over the green. So let's kind of take a look at this green. I want there to be kind of 3 distinct sections like there is now. I want there to be more of a backboard back here. This is a little bit too soft of a slope. And like I said in the last video, we're kind of at liberty to let this green go a little crazy. It's a drivable par 4. You're going to have a short little wedge in even if you lay up, because I mean this is only a 230-yard shot if you lay it out to the left from the tee shot here, and you've got 80 yards, 85 yards. That's not too hard of a, that's not too long of a distance. We can get pretty crazy with this. So let me go in, and I'm going to try and get this green looking a little bit more like I want it to be finishing up as. So let's get in and let's kind of sculpt this thing to make it play a little bit better. This is kind of what I had in mind when I started creating this hole. I had this little top section here, and even kind of a tricky pin right in there, and then a pocket over here and a little pocket over here. And I think for a drivable par 4, it's a totally okay green. I know these are a lot of red lines around here and a lot of big bowling effects going on, but I think you would definitely see something like this on a short par 4. And I think it's just fun. I mean, if you hit this green, it's awesome, but if you do happen to hit it over the green, you're going to have a tough time getting up and down, and it's almost better to hit it over here, especially to this front pin. I think to this front pin, the play would definitely be to hit an iron up to here, unless you were planning on just hitting it into this bunker, but I think it's steep enough where that's a bit of an awkward shot. So I think it's totally worth it to try and play it out to the left side, but I think you also have some merit going for it. I think it's a proper risk-reward kind of green, and it's definitely you definitely see on a drivable par 4. So let's go and let's put our pin placements in, because I think I'm pretty happy with this finished product of this green right now. I might want to flatten this area a little bit in this middle section where I'm looking, because I think I want to pin kind of on the top of this little tier and then to the left of this little tier. But as it is right now, it's a little bit slippery for my tastes. But we're gonna put a pin here. I think that's honestly one of the toughest pins on the entire green, even though it's definitely the most centered. Pin position 2. Let's put this kind of up in the corner here. So you've got a little bit of a backstop here. I might even accentuate that a bit more. That looks pretty good to me, actually. You can, if you had a wedge shot from over here, you could definitely feel free to go at this pin and let it come back off the back slope. Pin number 3, let's stick this one kind of up in this back corner here, where it's probably the pin you would hit driver to the most, because you have this giant backstop back here, and I think you would definitely use that. And then we'll put pin 4 right up in this front little corner here, front left. And this is kind of how I want this waste bunker to look, is a really big steep face, where you would be very uncomfortable if you hit a shot into this area. If you hit it onto this upslope, you just have that one of those really awkward bunker shots where you get in real life and you're really way up on the upslope and you've got to almost take too much sand. Like it's a hard shot. I know I don't like it, so I imagine most people aren't very comfortable hitting a big uphill stance bunker shot. So I think it's looking pretty good. I like where this is at. Let me just flatten this front little section here one more time, in this middle section near this pin, just so we get a little bit more area to play with, and I think that's pretty good. Now let's hop into some more planting here, because we've got this back section here. We've got this area behind these tee boxes. Let's hop into this underbrush area underneath these trees, because as it is right now, when you're standing on this tee box, you can see straight through them, and you don't really want to see back in through the trees. We want to block some of that view. And when we finish this course and we add all the extra trees in that come with the course, you know, when I talked about it in an earlier episode, I'm probably going to go back and just add all the trees that comes with the course when you turn the tree settings up. But as it is, we really want to block some of that view, and underbrush is the best way to do that. It really makes it look realistic. You never see trees with just bare trunks, so we're going to go through and we're going to place some of this underbrush all along this left side, and then we might finish this little area off in here too, because there's going to be some underbrush that I'm going to put through there. So let's go in, and this is going to be a plant-heavy time-lapse here. We are going to be planting all of the underbrush along the left and the right of hole 4, so let's do it. One thing I'm noticing here as I was doing this time lapse is I haven't really finished this back bunker, and it's actually, I mean, this is actually the cart path of the hole. So let's go ahead and let's make this bunker a little bit flatter and straighter, because this is where all the carts are going to go, and we really want to make sure that this is a pretty clear path. So I might have to sculpt this a little bit as well as I'm going through. As I'm going through with planting all of this, I really want to make sure that people can drive on this and it's not a problem. Let's make sure that we sculpt it correctly too, because I don't really want it to go crazy away from the player. I want it to just be pretty flat along this back side of the bunker. But I think that looks a little bit cleaner. I'm gonna have to move some of these trees as well, because we don't want the trees to be in the bunker blocking where the carts are going to go. And there we go. That is a lot better. So perfect. All right, let's hop back into the time lapse and let's get all this underbrush planted. I may have cut some of that time lapse out because that was a pretty beefy time lapse. That whole back section, that probably took me about a full 20 minutes or so. So if I cut through some of it, that'll explain why I did some jump cuts through there. I just wanted to talk briefly about what I tried to do over here. I wanted to try out this, I've been doing it a little bit, but I really wanted to see how it would come out. I wanted to go with the little bit brighter colors up front, like this yellow, this kind of pale one, this, and especially the red of the pine straw. I wanted that to be at the front, and then some darker colors or some shaded colors at the back. And I really wanted to use that to kind of create some depth through here. Like, it's not a very wide area that I've planted, but just having the brighter colors pop through at the beginning, at the front of it, really makes your eyes start at the beginning, and it draws your eyes backwards towards the darker tones in the back, and so it creates that depth for your eyes. And that's kind of what I was going for. I'm going to keep fiddling around with that on this course, but that's kind of the concept I used, and I think it's turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with where we're at on that left side of the fairway, especially coming up around here. I think this all looks really good, and I think it really completes this left side and frames it really well. I want to turn my attention to here because as I was going through this left side, I noticed that this second shot here, it's kind of boring. As you can see here, if you're sitting here, it's pretty boring in front of the green. I know it looks boring behind the green because there's nothing back there, but I think the tee boxes will do a good job of framing up the hole a little bit better. But I really think that there needs to be something right in here. And I'm going to fiddle around. I'm going to test out a bunker. I'm going to move this bunker inwards into here and really kind of choke up this front little run-up area because it's really not that useful. Like, nobody's really going to be hitting it into here. This is kind of no man's land. And if you hit your tee shot left off this tee, you'll kind of end up in this bunker anyway. So it doesn't really serve a purpose. I think it would be much better suited to have the second shot with just kind of a big imposing bunker here that kind of blocks the view of this back area and really focuses you in on this is the green and blocks out everything else over on this side. So I'm going to go and I'm going to add a bunker in here, and let's see if that kind of helps frame this green a little bit better than it is now. And I think it's going to do a good job. I think that that has done a world of good for this second shot into the green. Doesn't that just look so much more framed up? Your eyes are just so much more directed towards where the green is, and that bunker really helps kind of hide this back area over here. I just think it does a world of good, and it's such a simple change. It's so funny how those little things could really make a big difference in the overall effect and feel of the hole that you're going for. And yeah, I think that bunker was a really good addition. So happy with that. Let's move on and let's start focusing on this right side, and let's get some of this planting done in through here. One factor that I have to consider is this shade from these trees over here is really blocking a lot of this area. I want some of this planting to pop, so I might have to cut into some of this tree line and hopefully get some of the shadows off of some of these areas through here. Not sure how it's going to go. We're gonna do our best. I really want to keep that tree line in there so that it is protecting the right side of this hole. I think that's more important than worrying about the shadows being cast across the side of the fairway there and kind of that left edge of the bunker that you see. Yeah, we're gonna play around with it, see what we get, and I'll bring you guys in after I get done planting all of this. So let's pop in and let's keep planting and getting this hole closer to completion. We finished the interior planting on this hole, and I think it's really come together nicely. I really like the pockets of this planting here, and it kind of breaks up the bunker nicely so that it's not all sand that you're seeing, but it's also not all planting you're seeing. It's a good combination of both. There are really only two things left to do on this planting, at least for this hole, and it's kind of this left side. I kind of left this alone. I need to go through and finish that, which I will do when I also plant this tree section, which doing some of the undergrowth here, hopefully that helps this section. Final thing I want to do with the look of this hole is I actually want to work on hole 5 tee box, and I was going back and forth in my head, is this really kind of in the scope of this episode? Like, this episode's focusing on hole 4, but I really do think that these tee boxes on the next hole are a part of this hole, because it really is going to frame up this this shot to the green, rather. And having the tee boxes set back here and having them all built up with the bunkers all around them, I think is really just going to complete the look of hole number 4 in a big time way. And I want to do that in this episode so that we get a really kind of good look at what hole 4 is going to look like once it's completely finished. So with that being said, I'm going to go in and I am going to finish off the tee boxes here for hole 5. And this is going to be the back tee box, and then it's going to be a pretty big gap, and then this will be the next tee box right in this area that I'm looking at. And then I'm going to have the bunkers going all through here. It's going to be a lot of waste bunkers because we really don't want any shadows. We want these waste bunkers coming out all the way to about here, so that we don't get any shadows coming across this green from the tree line that's going to be on the left side of hole number 5. So that's our plan. Let's go in and let's finish off the look to the back side of hole number 4 here. That is about all I feel comfortable doing at the current moment. I'm still kind of waffling on ideas for hole 5. We've got this little inlet of water that I created to kind of come up alongside hole 3 and then be a major factor on hole 5. But I'm not 100% sure exactly where everything's going to go. So I knew I wanted this tee box over here to the right because I might have the fairway come in through here and then go around the water kind of this way with the green sight more in here versus up that way. I'm not 100% convinced where everything's going to go, so I kind of just want to leave it there. We got the bare bones of what it's going to be, and I think that's going to help. It's just going to help frame this hole up. It kind of makes it feel like it's lost in the dunes, if that makes sense. This green is kind of just up, hidden away from everything, kind of in the middle of this. It's almost a sand island, and I think that's what we're going for. We want it to appear about as small as we can, even though, I mean, it is a pretty big green. For a drivable par 4, it's all, you got sand surrounding it on all sides, and I think this front left bunker really helps with this second shot that you'd have from right here. So I just wanted to get that completed, and just so that we could see the sand behind it, and I really wanted this to be kind of up in here, and I think that does a good job of framing the back of the screen. So we have that done. I think all that we have left now, I'm going to do this whole left side like I said earlier, and I'm going to do this little bit of tree line, and I'm going to get it all planted, get some of the pine straw under there. And once we get that done, I think this hole is going to be looking pretty good and pretty close to completion. So let's do it. wanted to pop in here during this time lapse because I didn't talk about it at the end of the video. I kind of lucked into this little view behind the green with this bunker that I'm making, and I'm kind of pushing this tee box up a little bit, as you can see. And I really found this little view over the back of the green that I really liked, and I wanted to talk about it for a second because you can kind of see it just from the fairway there. You can see it just over the back edge of the green, and I think it really adds a little bit of depth to the green and a new dimension to kind of that second shot, which is what we were looking for. We were looking to frame up the back of that green. So I just want to pop in and explain that that's kind of why I raised up that tee box a little bit further, just so you can see the bunker over the green, and you know, it would help out that look a little bit more. So all right, back to the time lapse. Well guys, we did it. We finished hole 4 for pretty much the most part. There's a little bit I still like left to do, but overall we have got basically everything in, including all the planting and everything. And I mean, the transformation this hole has undergone in just one episode, it's been pretty awesome to see. Here I'm going to show you, this is what it was before we started this episode. We had the tree line in and everything, and now here's what we've got finishing up the hole. I think we've got it a lot more closer to completion, and that I think just the planting through here from the tee box straight up to where the green is, I think that really helps the hole. It really helps it make it interesting. And let me just do one thing quickly. I am going to add the trees back in here. Let's put all of them in. And here you can really get the full effect of how this hole is going to look. You can see that it's really filled in the background, and there's a lot of shade and darkness back there. And that's exactly what's going to happen once we get all of the trees put back in. I know some of the shade is back onto the hole, probably from this one. Yeah, you can see all these trees have been planted over here. But I mean, this is a lot more of what it's going to look like once we add all the trees back in that the game provides for us, that we don't have to plant and doesn't eat into our plant meter. And I must say, I'm pretty happy that we only had 34.6% objects meter. We started this episode with 31.7, so to get everything planted on this hole in under 3%, I think that's a really big step forward for us as we kind of get closer to, we're going to have to plant some more of this ocean, and it's going to eat a lot more of our plant meter. But now we're in a much better position than we were through these first 3 holes, 1, 2, and 7. We had a ton of object meter through those holes. So to be able to get through holes 3 and 4 with basically 6 to 7% of the object meter only on those holes, that's a big step in the right direction. And hopefully we're going to be able to continue that, especially once we go inland with 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15. We're going to be able to save a ton of plant meter up there. I am really excited. Next episode, we are going to turn our attention to this stunning par 5 that goes out down towards the water and it's our march to the sea here. And I'm pretty excited for it. I think it's going to be an awesome hole. I hope you all are excited for it too. If you are, please sure to leave a like rating on this episode, and feel free to subscribe as well. I'd really appreciate it. It would help me out a lot. And thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.